Hi, Betty. You're busy sewing for Live Art 2005. Thank you for participating, Elder Betty.
The Selkirk First Nation is comprised of Northern Shoshone people who possess a rich, diverse, and vibrant culture. This is our story.
Okay, Zenu Sultan.
Se King Nyuk Ne Hodan. That's mean beaver house along the river people. And Tekina, that's a high language for same word. Something, eh? It's really the way they talk sometimes. Sometimes I don't understand them. Like when I was small, they talk just high. And then when you tell them, what's that? You know, you tell them, what do you say? And they put it down low. And that's how we learn how to speak like high and low language. So I think Tommy McGinty put that on up there. I think what he's trying to say, Yetz Edeki Kung, that's mean we're all gather and talk together. Yetz Edeki Kung.
As Northern Shoshone people, we have a unique way of social organization known as the clan system. There are two clans, Wolf and Crow.
Wolf and Crow is like a law to us. It helps us from when we're small right to we become an elder. It's there to tell you that you're doing good in your life. And the wolf always take care of the crow, and the crow always take care of the wolf.
Clan membership is based on the mother, which means a child belongs to its mother's clan. Whatever clan a person was born into, this is the clan that they will have throughout their lives. The clans represent who we are, our connection to other families, and our connection to the environment. Traditional law regarding clans include, but are not limited to, members of the same clan should not marry.
If you're a crow, you marry a wolf, and if you're a wolf, you marry a crow. And then if you should marry a crow and you're a crow, things start to unravel, everything come apart. So your life is no longer set on your culture.
Clan members hold the rights to crest, regalia, objects or art, stories, songs, and anything else that expresses its clan system.
It's just more than a song. There's songs for healing, songs for helping, and song for death.
Traditionally, the society of the Northern Shoshone people is based on the concept of the group. Emphasis is not placed on individual, but rather on the community as a whole.
Okay, I'm going to tell the story in my language, and Kara going to tell you in English, okay? Crow,
Crow, a long time ago, they used to speak just like us, talk like us.
you know that done.
Elders are the thread of our community, and they are the history keepers for our people. They assist in the safekeeping of our traditional cultural ways through important roles and responsibilities held within the community.
It took me a lifetime to say what I'm saying now, you know? That's why I say we gotta learn together everything, eh? That's all I know about that one. Good? So fun? Uh-huh.
When I look back at it, we're just trying to get our land back or get something for our land. They're trying to take the whole thing from us.
What we're saying is
We're First Nations people. We're First Nations of the land. Our social life, our hunting, our fishing, our cultural and custom lifestyle. And we're the owners of the land and everything, every context, way of life, the rights, everything that's attached to that, it should be all ours. Nobody else should own that.
Before they making decision for you, but they don't tell us what they did or what kind of decision they made. Not only that, lots of things they've been doing for us, we don't know anything about it. We got no say. We have to get involved. We have to do something for ourselves with our own people.
In 1973, an organization called the Yukon Native Brotherhood, now the Council of Yukon First Nations, traveled to Ottawa. They presented a proposal called Together Today for Our Children Tomorrow. This document laid the foundation for the negotiation of land claims and self-government for Yukon First Nations.
That's when Elijah Smith, he was there working with those Indian affairs at that time. They took him down to Ottawa there. They want him to sign paper on behalf of the whole Yukon community, all the whole Yukon Native people. He didn't lag that. So he said, I can't make a decision on behalf of those other people. I have to go back up and tell them all about it. So that's how he came back and he started all this land claim.
I don't know, many times we met as a tall chief. I'll tell you a lot of talking going on. So pretty soon we'll come to catch up with each other and we'll start to agree we'll have to get involved. We're going to have to work hard towards a land claim agreement.
We had a hard time, hardship. Some of us had to hitchhike to get to the meetings in Whitehorse. And I remember that at that time there, Skookum Gym Friendship Center, prior to the meeting, some of us had to camp right in the basement of Skookum Gym. But the fight was on. The elders say, no matter what, we're going to sacrifice everything to get our land claims. And that's where it all began.
The umbrella final agreement formed the basis for the negotiation for each First Nations final agreement.
Negotiations take a long time, maybe over 20 years period, maybe, before, from starting to signing the final agreement. Went through a lot of tough life a little bit. And pretty tired half the time, but you got to keep on going. It takes a long time because when we say we want this piece of land, and on the other side, the government said they want it too. So, we have to fight over that one piece of land and go back and forth on the table like this. So, and finally at the end, they said, we'll meet in the middle so we can agree to it. That's how it come about. We can't get what we want in the first place. We own the whole Yukon. We say we want the whole Yukon, but they don't want to give us that. So they break it into small pieces. That's why if you see a map today, there's all little pieces here and there all over the place.
In July of 1997, we, the Selkirk First Nation, signed our self-government and final agreements at Minto Landing.
What's so important, our right. Our right, we have to keep our right. We have to keep our traditional way of things, education, and land out there. We have to manage it together.
The final agreements provided for the negotiations of self-government agreements. which allows Yukon's self-governing First Nations to make decisions and enact laws in relation to their lands, resources, governments, and programs.
We got attachment of self-government agreement to our land claim agreement to each individual First Nation. And in there, because it's self-government agreement, it says, how are you going to govern yourself?
We as a recognized self-governing nation provide government programs for all our Selkirk First Nation citizens.
They call it modern day treaty or something like that. They never done that before.
Our governing institutions are the General Assembly, the Elders' Council, the Chief and Council, the Family Heads, and a new Justice Council. As a government, we have rights and benefits under our final agreements and power over our lands and resources.
You gotta have a vision if you want to be a leader. You gotta know where you're going to be 5 years from now. After 5 years old, you make another 5-year plan. Move all the time. You can't stay one place.
We collaborate with the federal and territorial government to ensure that our citizens receive programs and services comparable to those provided across the territory. As with all Canadian governments, the Selkirk First Nation government operates within the framework of the Canadian Constitution, consistent with federal and territorial jurisdictions.
And Elijah Smith start all that, and it's a good agreement when it's finished.
Lots of work. And today we're involved in decision making. We like to see for people today.
So that's how it came to be. The elders say we'll never lose our way of life regards to that land claims deal. And if you look at it in reality today, the sacrifice that we made, parts of it is on the big lands that our grandfather walked on. That was part of the deal.
The Selkirk First Nation people have lived in the Northern Shoshone Traditional Territory for a very long time. Prior to living in Pelly Crossing, many of the people lived at Fort Selkirk, McMillan River, and Tatlaman Lake. After the highway was built in the 1940s, our people who lived in Fort Selkirk moved to Minto Landing. The Selkirk First Nation Final Agreement provides for lands called settlement lands.
Under the agreement, it talks about how you're going to report and work with other governments and other agencies on managing people on the land and the environment. We're going to split it in half.
There's a sonar operation at the border, and that's used to count fish.
Like the contemporary side of it and the traditional side of it, and bring those two together.
You can't hunt big bulldogs after fall. Remember when we first started this, we talked about a person wanting to do something on settlement land.
The settlement land of the Selkirk First Nation is nearly 4,750 square kilometers. We own and manage this land.
Long ago, before contact and even after contact, they did the reporting system when they were on the land. Northern Shoshone people. What they used to do a long time ago, they said, was they came together and let people know how the animals, the fur and the fish and the birds and whatnot were on the land. And that happened in May month, where they all got together.
All of your land has been basically managed with the First Nations with this traditional way of managing it. And it's lasted for thousands of years. that should last for another thousands of years.
All those reports were there, traditional way. And the people that used the land were the managers to the land and whatnot in that area, family area. They called it back in them days. They would come in and say, we overhunted this area here, or else we overharvested fur or whatever. They reported it and let people know how the animals, the fur and the fish and the birds and whatnot were on the land. And that's how it came to be. Exactly what the land claimer was asking us to do, but we did it in a traditional way.
If you want to hunt, trap, or fish on the Selkirk First Nation settlement land, you must get written permission from our Lands Department of the Selkirk First Nation government. Traditional law is part of Dangki, the First Nation way, which was our system of survival for thousands of years.
Donkey, for me, it means doing it the Indian way. It's how our people do stuff, so we call ourselves Dun.
To understand about Dangki, you must know about Duli.
Doli does guide you, especially if you go and learn from the elders. What is Doli? The elders would tell you, Doli is laws that should not be broken.
Duli is our ancient way of living in harmony with the natural and spiritual world. Duli is all-encompassing.
Doli and animals, they're close together, you know. So you always got to respect before you say a thing about the animal. You got to, or I mustn't say this.
There is Duli for plants and animals to show them respect.
One example is don't shoot a bear in a spawning creek. If you shoot a bear in a spawning creek, the bear would die, and where that blood flow, that's where all the fish stop going to. So if there's fish in that area, there's no more fish there now. And that's because you've broken one of the traditional law by shooting a bear in the creek, which is Doli.
From other First Nation to other, you learn lots of things. You learn by hearing story that tells you more, where people made mistakes in the traditional with the animal, with fish, or beaver.
You go chase them again. When you get up, you see bear holder. You look, you stick a bear in there. You kill that bear. You go back, get that brick, chop it down, make toboggan. You make toboggan.
That's how come Doli there.
Personal Duli is for how people should behave towards each other in everyday life. Traditionally, everyone followed Duli as best as they could. Making a mistake or being careless and breaking Duli could cause an illness or injury to the person who broke Duli or someone else.
So we try to stay away from breaking our traditional law, because you don't want to be punished by nature. Nature has really hard punishment.
Duli is a process of learning how to live in balance and harmony with everything in this world and the spiritual one beyond.
Birds tell us message sometimes, important message. Like I say, when you see an owl outside of your house in the afternoon, it's a message to tell you that someone's going to die. And if you were to pack a bag with ashes in it, medicine bag, that's your protection. All the time you pack that bag with you, just so that you don't get affected by Doli or whatever out there trying to harm you.
All of Dangki, including Duli and traditional law, are guided by 4 major principles: caring, sharing, respect, and teaching.
If we listen to our elders close enough, so if you want to learn, if you want to teach, if you want to live, if you want to correct, if you want to heal, those things, the traditional way has always been out on the land. That's where you come from, and that's where you get it back. It has to be up to the young ones to want to learn these old values.
Well, whatever we try to teach you, especially young people, about a traditional way. It's not too easy. You have to study lots of things. It's like you go to school. Once you catch on to it, you never forget.
Give me a sosan, everyone. My name is Nicole Alfred and I'm 13 years old. And I'm here at Little John Slough and we're here for camping and I'm here learning my culture a little bit more and learn my elders' teachings. So we go for boat rides and cut some moose meat and we eat pretty good here.
This is how we got our meat years ago. And every part of the meat gotta be hung up like this. You cut the meat apart like, and then you cut it into dry meat like these. Elders long time ago, they got no deep freeze, They had to boil up all the bones, The only way they got saving the meat is to dry them. Nothing goes to waste,
Yeah.
We keep our community vibrant and strong by hosting many events and activities that center around our culture. As Northern Shoshone people, we have our own songs and dances which reflect our way of life and our stories. It is important to pass these down to future generations.
That's the direction we're heading now, is collecting all the values, the rights, the way of life in the traditional and cultural way. And we're so fortunate that the elders that we have left from the original, that they still have their language, they still have their vision, they still have their direction, and they still have their action. That's meaning they're willing, even if they're 94-year-old, they're willing to go out on the land to teach, to save who we are and what we are today.
We also continue to practice our traditions with fish camps and hunting camps, where families come together for the traditional harvesting of food.
The work we Northern Shoshone people are doing, based on our traditional laws and our Duli laws, those are the things that today we are working towards.
We also teach our language, Northern Shoshone, in the school.
Beautiful displays.
And we teach sewing classes and cabin building, among many other classes and workshops. We like to share cultural events with the public, such as the annual stick gambling tournament. These events are open to the public to help create an understanding of our culture and our people.
Try some. It's tasty.
But there are certain events which are just for our Selkirk First Nation citizens, such as the General Assembly.
Today we have before us lands and resources report.
The General Assembly is an important event where the citizens gather for important discussions and decision making.
I'd like to see more study going on and with daily laws and traditional way of workshop for the young people. The young people themselves get asked the question. So I think they're going to get it on fast that way. That's all I want.
So fun.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
For more information on the Selkirk First Nation and events, visit our website at www.selkirkfn.ca.